Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Jules Onuk and welcome to True Crime Jules. Welcome to another episode of Enigma by Jules. So guys, today's case is so wild. I'm sure like so many of you have heard about this case before, and I've heard about it so many times, so I decided to bring it up today. And again, I'm so sorry that last month I only uploaded twice. Last month was a very busy month for me. Like, I barely had time for myself. I know it may not seem like that, but like I barely had time for myself last month, so I only uploaded like 2 times last month. And I know I said that every week I was going to upload like crime cases, in which I already did my research and I had, but Pride month is over and this is July, and yeah, we have to move on with life. I'm so sorry about that. So today's case is about one of the most meticulous serial killer that's ever been in history, and his name is Israel Keyes. Like I said earlier on, I'm very sure that some of you know about this case, if not most of you know about this case, because this is quite a very popular case, and I decided to tell this case today for those of you who have not heard. So if this is your first time seeing me, hi, my name is Jewel and I post true crime stories every week. If you're not subscribed to my channel, kindly subscribe to my channel, share this video if you care, and you can turn on post notifications so you get alerts every time I do post content like this. Like I said earlier on, today we're going to talk about Israel Keyes, and he's known to be one of the most meticulous serial killer that's ever existed in this world. And when we talk about serial killers, we know that serial killers can be meticulous, and like we see serial killers being meticulous at first, and then because they get comfortable with the fact that they've not yet been caught, they actually slop. But this one was meticulous to the end. So who was Israel Keyes? Israel Keyes was an American serial killer. He was not a serial killer that had a preferred type of victim. He was a serial killer of opportunity, like someone who would just, how most serial killers just have like a particular set of people, a particular type of people that they focus on. Like some people could be like vulnerable victims, like sex worker, or somebody with a blonde hair, or a smaller person, some pedophiles. There are people that just focus on the kind of victim, they know the kind of victim they want. When they wake up in the morning and they decide that, okay, today I want to kill, they have this kind of victim that they all go for. But when it came to Israel Keyes was somebody who just didn't have a victim type. He was more about opportunity. Like if the opportunity presented itself to him, he would be like, okay, this is what I'm going for, this is who I'm going for. And this was kind of a problem because obviously, like, in reality nobody is safe. So even if you be like, oh, serial killers hardly kidnap or kill big girls, Israel Keyes will be like, sorry, I don't care who you are, I am going to attack you and kill you. Before I go down deep into the background of Israel Keyes, let's talk about his last victim before he was being known. On 1st of February 2012, there's this girl called Samantha Koenig. So Samantha Koenig, she was working in a coffee shop in Anchorage, and she was working the late shift. So she was the daughter of a single father, although some sources said that her father got money illegally, but I don't think that is necessary because here we're concentrating on the victim. But people were like, her dad was involved in illegal activity. I actually don't know why some sources actually put that in, because like the cause of her death was not related to her dad. I just feel like it was just unnecessary for some articles to put that in there, to just throw it in there. So that evening, she was spending the evening serving drinks and coffee to people who came to get their favorite beverage, and some sources said that that day she actually had a quarrel with her boyfriend because she suspected that her boyfriend was cheating on her. But towards the end of her shift, you can just imagine, she's serving customers, she's quarreled with her boyfriend, allegedly she thinks her boyfriend is cheating on her. She's probably frustrated. So towards the end of her shift, when she's about to like closing everything, in the CCTV footage I watched, she actually like started switching off the, I think she switched off the light because the guy asked her to switch off the light, but like she was clearing everything. Was towards the end of her shift, and towards the end of her shift, this man came inside and was holding a handgun, and then he pointed it out to her. He was like, give me everything in the till, and she's like, okay, cool. She's like giving him everything in the till. I think that's when he asked her to switch off the light, which she did, and then this guy told her to face the wall. He now used a zip tie and then tied her hands to her back, and then he took her with him to where he was going to. So during the walk across the park, Samantha, she saw an opportunity to run, so she attempted to run, and then the kidnapper that held her was like, see, if you're not going to behave yourself, I'm actually going to kill you, but if you behave yourself, I'm just going to collect a ransom on your head. So if you behave yourself, I will ask for a ransom, and if the ransom is being paid, then I'm going to set you free. But if you do not behave yourself and you attempt to run, or you attempt to flee, or you do anything shady, then I'm going to kill you. So Samantha, she was like, okay, she started to behave herself because she knew that her dad was going to pay the ransom on her head. She knew her dad was going to pay the ransom on her head. So she was like, you know what, I'm going to behave myself, because obviously it's just normal for you to want to behave yourself because you don't want to get killed. That's what she did. And while she was there, she was just praying that this ordeal will be so over soon. And was it? No, it wasn't. Samantha never made it home alive, and she just thought that she was being kidnapped by a kidnapper. But she was not only kidnapped by a kidnapper, she was also kidnapped by a serial killer. And this serial killer was someone that was very manipulative. He spared no life. He was so manipulative and so out of this world that he killed so many people across America. And not only did he kill so many people across America, he also like buried kill kits like everywhere in America. So like wherever he went to, he had kill kits. Like he did, like, you know, some people some serial killers that we know or read about, they just have these kill kits in their cars or in their trucks, mostly vans that they use. When they see an opportunity that presents themselves for them to kill, they actually do kill. When it came to Israel Keys throughout America, I don't know how big America is. Throughout America, this guy buried kill kits throughout America. So whenever an opportunity presented itself, and I'm thinking like maybe close to where his kill kits were buried, so like whenever an opportunity presented itself, this guy would use that opportunity and kill a victim. Like I explained earlier in this case, that Israel Keys did not have like a particular victim type. It was anybody that showed itself that he actually killed. And the capture of Samantha was his last. And not only was it his last, it was what, like I said earlier, it was what actually led him to being captured and putting an end to his miserable, pathetic lifestyle. So now I'm going to talk about the early life of Israel Keys. So when it comes to true crime stories like this, I love to know how they were brought up. So Israel Keys was born on January 7th, 1978, which is so pathetic because it's a day after my own birthday. So he was born on January 7th, 1978, and he was born to strict parents. And not only were his parents strict, his parents did not believe in government, they did not believe in school, they had this strict Christian beliefs. And from other true crime stories that I've read about, there are some people, some serial killers or some murderers that have actually grown up in this kind of background where their parents don't send them to school, they are being homeschooled, their parents dictate their lives for them, and when they grow up, they just become something else. But then again, would you think that that is the cause? Because like, I don't know, I don't want to like interfere into people's like life, like how they've been grown up, because there have been some people that have actually grown up like that and they've not been menace to society. So like, when I say sometimes this can make or mar people in the way they grow up. Anyways, so as I was saying, Israel Keys, he was born on January 7, 1978, and like I said earlier on, his dad, his family, they had this strict Christian religious belief. His dad did not believe in the government interference, his dad did not believe in schools, his dad did not believe in doctors, did not believe in medicine. So literally, I want to say they were living like this primitive lifestyle, and I don't know. Do you think like, what are the chances you were born in that kind of family? He was one of 10 children, so he had 9 siblings. And like I said earlier, his dad did not believe in hospitals, government interference, in schools. So this made his dad very reluctant to, like, you know, make his children to be born in the hospital. So like I think most of his children, because I didn't see any article that said all of his children, but most of his children were actually born at home, and Israel Keys too was born at home. And because Israel Keys' dad did not believe in government or this thing, Israel Keys was not legally registered when he was giving birth. So you know, like when somebody gives birth, they have a whole birth certificate and all these things. So, and they are being legally registered in the system that okay, child was born today, let's put it in the system, give them a birth certificate and things like that. But when it came to Israel Keys, after his mom gave birth to him at home birth, which is not a bad thing, people do it even till now. When his mom gave birth to him at home, he was not registered. I know some people who have home births, they still have like midwives there and who registers them, but like when it came to Israel Keys, his dad did not believe in government life and all those things. He was not legally registered. His dad was a handyman, and his dad would just work wherever he could, and they actually lived in tents throughout America. So like I said, they were these strict religious people, and you know how like religious people, like they could be like that strict, they could like be in one religion, they could be like, oh okay, I'm a Jehovah's Witness, that's what I stick to, I'm a Presbyterian, that's what I stick to, I'm Mormon, that's what I stick to. When it came to Israel Keys' dad, like it was more like whatever suited them at that time, that was the religion that they actually, or that was the religious belief that they actually adapted to at that time. So it was not like, oh okay, I'm a Mormon for life and that's where they stuck, or maybe a Christian for life, Mormons are Christian, maybe I'm a Jehovah's Witness for life, or maybe I'm a Presbyterian for life, or maybe I'm a Catholic for life. So it was whatever suited them at that point that they adapted to. Israel Keys, his siblings, his mom, his dad was a handyman, so like his dad built tents for them wherever they went to. And again, like they did not survive on heat or electricity, which is so weird. Like they didn't survive on heat or electricity because either because of two reasons. Maybe because dad did not trust the government, or because they lived in tents, they could not have access to heat or electricity. So I think this would just not make them like have shower like every day. I don't know, I don't want to speculate. His dad also being a handyman, wherever he could, his dad would just take up a job because his dad himself was a handyman. Even though his dad could get job wherever he could, it didn't mean that his dad had a stable source of income. So literally these people were like suffering in silence, thinking that it was the right thing to do. Because I believe personally, I believe that if his dad didn't have all these beliefs, like they would live like a normal life and they would actually have a decent place to place their head and sleep. Like I said, and I mentioned like 100 times in this video, Israel Keys, they were living an isolated lifestyle, and his parents, which is normal for parents to think, why I'm like, thank God the world is changing now, but like obviously it's normal for parents to think that, oh, this life that I'm doing for my children, they enjoy, they don't care to like hear from their child's point of view. So like his parents automatically thought that, okay, this guy, my children, they actually love this lifestyle, they love the fact that I'm isolating them, they love the fact that, oh, they are moving from place to place, living in tents, they don't go to school, this thing. Meanwhile, in reality, the children, they did not love you because they didn't have friends, and they had no one to talk to, they were being isolated, like they did not have a social life. But this is the parents thinking that, okay, my children, they're actually enjoying this life that I'm giving them, but in reality they are not, and the parents did not grasp this. I even think that even if the parents grasp it, because like sometimes parents just like to be domineering and be like, oh, I came to this world before you, I just think that like they may have ignored it. So like obviously, even though the children were suffering in silence, the parents did not either they did not get it, or they actually just purposely turned a blind eye. Israel Keys' parents, they did not mind. Yeah, their children did not have this lifestyle, but like they did not mind for their children to live in the wild, like go out like in the wild to play or do things like that. But like because again, the way I'm imagining, I think like maybe they were living like in bushes or things like that. So like the parents did not mind for them to do all those things. And these children, that's not what they wanted. They just wanted to live like normal children, like have friends, have people that they can call their friends, have sleepover, have this, have that. But because of the lifestyle that their parents chose, which in extension chose for them and which affected them, they didn't have this life. So growing up, Israel Keys, he actually loved guns and he actually loved hunting. So Basically, he would break into homes and steal their guns. He was so obsessed with guns, and also like he used to build his own weapons, which is kind of scary. So let me imagine, maybe he'll be building his own bow and arrow and things like that, or sharp objects. And those that he befriended, even though he was living this isolated lifestyle, he kind of had like friends, do you understand? And those that befriended him at that time soon disappeared because they found that Israel Keyes was just so obsessed with killing animals, torturing animals and killing animals, and he had so much happiness when it came to doing that. And his friends just thought that, okay, this is weird behavior, like why do you find so much pleasure in torturing and killing animals? So with that, they just gradually disappeared. And let's not pretend that most serial killers that, should I say most, but like most serial killers that we know, like they start their childhood with torturing animals, killing animals, and then, you know, it just digressed from that. From animals, it digressed to looking at women naked and then killing women. So like when I read about this, I was kind of not surprised, because I mean, like most serial killers, that's how they start, like killing animals. And it's just so scary because it's like there's a handbook for serial killing. I don't know, but like that's how it feels, because like it's just in one way or the other always connected, which can be scary. Israel Keyes, when he grew older, he joined the army, and when he was in the army, the fact that he was in the army, and do you know what, he took his army job very seriously. He took it so seriously. Israel Keyes was a very dedicated member of the army. He became a devoted soldier, and not only that, because he was in this, and because he was a soldier, because he was in the army, obviously he had access to guns, and the fact he was in the army actually increased his love for guns. And back in the army, when he was in the army, he didn't really have that much friends. He was just on his own, and he came out to say later on that he had just like one friend who he was close to, and because that his friend too like understood, like literally loved the same thing he loved, like torturing animals, loved the fact that he loved using guns. So like his friend actually loved that for him, and the person that he became close to shared his love for torture. In 2001, Israel Keyes was honorably discharged, and he went to live with the mother of his daughter, because he had a daughter, and he was dating this man while he was in the army. So like when he was discharged in 2001, he went to stay with the mother of his daughter, and he stayed with her for some time. Even like when he had another girlfriend, he was still staying with the mother of his daughter. And I think like maybe he was just like emotionally connected to her, and their relationship was like on and off for several years, that even when he had moved out and he had broken up with her for good, and he was dating another girl, he was still seeing that woman. So like I said earlier, in this case, Israel Keyes is known to be one of the most calculated and most meticulous serial killer that's ever been in history. And when it came to Israel Keyes, he was so clever. Even though he did not have like a victim type, which is kind of clever because the police would not even know who to look at. When it came to Israel Keyes, I'm sure the police would be like, this person just loves anybody. So Israel Keyes was very clever, he was very calculated, he was very meticulous. Like I said, this man was literally planted kill kits all over the country of America. He was clever, and if to say that, okay, maybe it was only in Anchorage that he was killing people, or it was only in Boston that he was killing people, it would have been very much more easier. But because he was clever and calculated, he moved around a lot. And like I said, he built kill kits everywhere. So he knew that if he moved around a lot and built kill kits where he could keep his kill, whatever, and guns, it would be very hard for the police to catch him, because like if the police are trying to solve the killer in, let's say, Washington, the next day he's already in Ohio doing another murder. Do you understand? So like he was so clever, because he knew that if he traveled around the whole country of America, it would be very hard for the police to catch him. And when he's traveling, obviously, because he has kill kits in almost every location, when he's driving, like if there's a stop and search, you won't even find a gun on him, because where he already has a gun somewhere ready to kill. Not only did he kill people, he was also like a robber. Sometimes he would rob remote banks to fund his lifestyle, and in a day he could kill like up to 2 people, 3 people in a day, which he was a disorganized killer, because like I said, and I keep on saying, this guy did not have a victim profile type. He just literally went for anybody. And sometimes, like, because he was a robber, he needed to fund his lifestyle. When he gets a victim, he robs them, or he goes to remote banks and kills them. He robs them. When he robs them, what's the next thing? He kills them. So like, he was like a disorganized killer that did not like have like a particular victim. I feel like I've said this a lot, but like, it's just very necessary, because like, even though it may sound disorganized, it's actually organized, if I'm making sense. When he wants to kill people, or like when he's going to the area where he knows that he wants to kill somebody, he would take out the battery of his cell phone, because he doesn't want his phone to ping around the area where the victim is being caught, in case police wants to start their investigation. As we know, some of the serial killers, they actually have mentors. They are mentees of well-known serial killers like Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, the Night Stalker, Jack the Ripper, etc. And when it came to Israel Keyes, he actually loved and admired Ted Bundy. And not only did he admire Ted Bundy, this was a serial killer that educated himself. Israel Keyes read a book about investigation and profiling, and this actually helped him to become more calculated. And I feel like if he was not greedy, he wouldn't have been caught. But because he was greedy, that's why he was caught. Sometimes it's just greed. Let's not forget that I spoke about Samantha Koenig at the beginning of this story. Samantha Koenig was obviously killed by Israel Keyes. When he murdered Samantha, he dismembered her body. And when he dismembered her body, at that time it was like winter, and it was in Alaska. And the weather in Alaska was so brutal, and Keyes used this to his advantage. So he took the dismembered body to a frozen lake, and then he used his chainsaw, and then like he just formed a hole in the middle of the lake, and then he threw her whole body inside. And not only did he throw her whole body inside, he made sure that her body was sunk into this lake before he moved away. So Samantha's father, when his daughter was kidnapped, he campaigned so hard for his daughter to return to him. Like, he had invested his money, he had spent a lot of money, he used social media, he used television, newspaper. He campaigned so hard for his daughter to come back to him, and Israel Keyes actually used this to his own advantage. He had actually coerced Samantha to reveal her PIN card to him. So her card was in the van that she shared with her boyfriend. So she shared a van with her boyfriend. Israel Keyes tied her up in his shed and then broke into the van that she owned with her boyfriend, and then he stole the card. So with the card and PIN in his possession, he actually killed Samantha Koenig. And when he killed Samantha Koenig, he made it seem like Samantha was alive. So he took a picture of Samantha, he did makeup on her, and then he sewed her eyes open with a fishing line to make it look like Samantha was alive. And then he put a 4-day-old Encourage newspaper that advertised Samantha's disappearance beside her to make it look like she was holding the newspaper. Meanwhile, in reality, Samantha was just laying down, her eyes sewed open, and the newspaper was just beside her. So he did that and made it look to her family like she was alive and she was safe with him. And if this ransom was given to him, that Samantha would be let loose. Meanwhile, in reality, Samantha was dead, and she was dead, and there was no way that she could come back to life. But of course, the family did not think so. The family did not know that, because they just thought that, okay, that Samantha was alive, because obviously her eyes were open, and it was just normal for them to believe that Samantha was alive. Meanwhile, this sick and calculated serial killer had already murdered her even before he had even like reached out to, her family. So at first, Samantha's dad was reluctant to, because obviously, like I said, money was donated to him, and Israel Keyes saw that, okay, money was donated to him. He actually used that to his advantage and demanded for ransom. Samantha Koenig's dad was, at first, he was reluctant to, give this money to Israel Keyes. And because of that, he just decided to give like a whole fraction into the joint account that Samantha owned with her boyfriend. And when he did that, because of the daily limit that was put on the withdrawal of this account, Samantha Koenig, he could not withdraw everything at once. Instead, and obviously he could not go into the bank, because obviously I'm sure the police would have said, okay, if somebody is coming to withdraw in this person's name, arrest the person. So obviously he had to use the ATM cash machine. And because of the daily limits that was placed on this account, he took several days to withdraw the money, because obviously he could not withdraw everything at once at the same day. So let's not forget, I've probably said it like a million times in this video, that KEYES was very calculated, he was very intelligent. So let's not also forget that I said that this guy had like kill kits all over America, and he traveled all over America to kill people. So like he didn't have a particular location, a particular victim type, or yeah. So because of that, so obviously he got this ATM cash card, and he knew that okay, ATM, they have cameras, you know. So he disguised himself, and like when the police tracked the activities in his account, they discovered that this guy was a traveler, because the activities that came from the account was all over the state. It was not just in a particular location. And when they look at the camera attached to the ATM, they've seen somebody whose face is disguised. So they are like, okay, this is hard. But this guy slipped. I'm telling you, it's always one thing that always makes them slip. Always one thing that they just do not think and be like, what's going on? Like, I should probably be careful in that aspect. It's always one thing that actually always makes them slip. When he went to the ATM to withdraw cash, obviously he thought he did the needful. He covered his face, disguised his face. Obviously police was not going to get hold of him, but he forgot to hide his car. So the police, they actually got a picture of his car from the camera. I believe, like, if he was really that calculated or intelligent, he should have hidden his car in a different street, or better still, use public transport. But no, this guy, or even like the whole thing, he would have walked. The universe made him park his car where he would be caught. So when the police identified the car, what did they do? They actually sent alerts to every other police, and obviously they will stop and search. So it did not even take long before he was actually caught. And when he was caught, the police, they checked his car and they saw incriminating evidence. They saw the driving license that belonged to Samantha. They saw her card. They saw cash in the car, and they saw like evidence that Samantha was in that car. So initially, when the police had caught him, they sent him to custody. They sent him to jail. And then initially the police was like, okay, we've caught a murderer. But like, upon further investigation, further interrogation, they discovered that, oh my God, he's not just a murderer, he's also a serial killer. So the police, they came to the conclusion that, oh my God, we have a serial killer on our hands and we did not even know. So KEYES was extradited back to Alaska, because obviously this is where the crime had taken place. The FBI, they actually interrogated him so profusely. He knew that the gig was up. He knew that he was going to die. So everywhere they were trying to like get like more information on other crimes that he had committed, other people that he had killed. And he was like, he started to like make a deal with them. He was like, see, I'm going to tell you about other crimes that I've committed, but please, I have like 2 requests. Firstly, please don't put my name on the newspaper because of my daughter, because he didn't want his daughter to say that he was a serial killer. And secondly, I need like a quick execution date. I don't want to sit long enough in the death row. Just make it a quick execution date so that I would just know when I'm going to die and just die. When he was talking about people that he had captured and killed, it was actually vague. So he spoke about the first victim, which was around 1997, 1998. Then here he was like that he had captured a teenage girl in which he raped and he wanted to kill. This girl begged him so much and he let the girl go. And he said at that point he kind of felt weak, and then he was like, never ever again would he let any of his victims go. So in total, KEYES confessed to killing less than a dozen people, although it was believed that he had killed 11 people, but only 3 people were solidly identified. And and Samantha was part of these 3 people that were identified. Another victim that was identified was a couple called the KEYES, and Israel KEYES was like, even though like he didn't have a victim type, like when it came to him killing couples, he had to make sure of 2 things. First of all, the couples didn't have like any dogs, and secondly, they didn't have any children. So this couple, they stayed in Essex in Vermont, and they were named Bill and Lorraine Cora, and he broke into their home, and then he took them to an abandoned farmhouse, and there he murdered Bill straight away, and then he raped Lorraine, and then after that he took their bodies to their own house, and then he burnt their house. The police did not know that he was a killer, obviously, till he confessed. He would also admit that he had killed other victims, other people, but his admission was so vague that the police, they were not able to like link anybody to him, because he did not give like a full-on explanation. He just gave like surface level explanation as to the people that he killed. So like it was so vague that they could not like really trace people to him, although like there've been people that they've actually suspected that he killed, but it's actually not been confirmed that yeah, he actually killed it. And this guy Israel KEYES actually said that his plan, like his vision, was to like one day build a house, like a house where he would torture people and then kill them, just like H.H. Holmes, which is so scary. If you know the case of H.H. Holmes, you know H.H. Holmes had a murder castle where he would kill his victims, and people actually think that he was, is it Jack the Ripper? People actually think that he was Jack the Ripper. Is it Jack the Ripper? I think Jack the Ripper, yeah. If I'm not correct, I'm going to put it down in this. But people actually thought that he was Jack the Ripper. If you want me to talk about H.H. Holmes, let me know in the comment section. I'm still going to talk about it anyways. When it came to, he said that he wanted to have like a murder castle or a murder house where he would torture and kill victims just like H.H. Holmes. And because he admired H.H. Holmes. Like, people, please get better role models. Oh my God. Get better role models, like people who impact your life with positivity, because like why are you making a serial killer your mentor? Like, get better role models, please. So Israel KEYES, he continued to talk to the investigation, but later on he stopped because he felt like they were not going to agree to his plea deal, and what he requested for, he felt like it was not progressing as quickly as he wanted to. There was a time he even wrote a letter to his brother and told his brother that, see, I'm going to take my own life with a razor blade. A notice was given to prison, was like, do not provide Israel KEYES with blade or anything that will perpetrate or make him to kill himself. But despite this, he was still provided with razor blade, and he actually slit his wrist, and then he strangled himself and he killed himself. And this guy died without talking about the people that he killed, giving the family of the deceased like solace or comfort, knowing okay, where they are missing family member or missing sibling or missing child is. He took that away from them, which was very cruel. So the night he killed himself, he covered himself, so like when they came to check up on him, it looked like he was sleeping. So however, on 2nd December 2012, his prison cell was open, and that's where they discovered that Israel KEYES was not sleeping, and Israel KEYES had killed himself, and he had taken all the information that he should have shared with the police on who his victims were. He had taken them to his graveside, which is so sad and very selfish of him. So like I said, Israel KEYES was very intelligent, a very intelligent serial killer. He's known to be one of the most intelligent serial killer that has existed in America and the world as a whole. And just imagine, like, around that time technology was not as strong as it is now. So imagine now, like, if he was still living till now. Anyways, people actually believe that he wouldn't have died if not because of Samantha. But yeah, but people are like, did he want to get caught, or was it just a result of carelessness? And trust me, I don't think he wanted to get caught, because that was how he was fun in his lifestyle. Let's not forget that he had a daughter, in which he really did love his daughter, if I say so myself. So like, even when he was like, oh, don't put my name on newspaper because I don't want my daughter to, obviously, like, he thought about his daughter. So I don't think he wanted to get caught. I think that he got caught because he slipped up and he was caught. And yeah, it was just unfortunate that he took information to his grave, which cannot be retrieved unless in another way. Anyways, obviously, if the murder of Samantha had gone on very well, I'm sure that he would have continued to kill as many people as he could. Or if he had just collected the money from the coffee shop and gone and did not make the promise to himself that nobody was ever going to go, I think that he would have continued. But it's so sad that the death of Samantha had to be the reason why he got caught. So I tried to Google to know the lifestyle of Samantha Koenig, and like I saw little to no characteristics about Samantha Koenig. And Samantha Koenig, she was just 18 years old when she was murdered. She was a barrister that just wanted to work to earn some extra cash. She took her job seriously. She was working at a coffee shop, and it's just so disgusting that Israel KEYES actually took her life at such a young age. That's all the information I have for you guys today. If you're not subscribed to my channel, kindly subscribe to my channel, like this video, and comment on any case you'd like to see me do. Subscribe to my channel, please. Thank you so much. Until next time, guys. Bye.